Hello, I'm going to read you something I wrote a few years ago for creative writing class. It was just like a stream of consciousness type of thing, but I rediscovered it and I'm going to share it with you now. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. The gentle rush of the tide curled at my toes, chipped purple nail polish obscured by the white bubbles of crashing waves, peeking out as the water ebbs. It was a languid day, the sort that inspired the same sense of peace and unbothered contentment as that first sip of sweet tea, the warmth of it washing over the body. At least, that's what my dad replied when I asked, "Why are we just sitting on the beach all day?" He rattled on about the majesty of simplicity, how the opportunity to sit in stillness and let the salty ocean air coat our lungs was a privilege, poetry in motion. In response, I dug my feet further into the scratchy, coarse sand. I heaved a sigh, chucked rocks in frustration of pale, dramatic limbs, and drowned in boredom as I willed the minutes to pass. To my left, my brothers were catching crayfish in the bay, delighted squeals bouncing around the secluded beach. They were nails on a chalkboard to my ears. Lips scrunched in disgust and eyebrows double knotted, I wonder how they could ever be so foolish as to be content with such a trivial day. I once prided myself on my pessimism. Withered and wrinkled by 9 years old, I moved through my days without a wisp of romance. My soul was that of a cranky grandmother, whining about the squeak in her rocking chair. To me, my afternoon stroll home from school was a trudge through the mud, the refreshing bite of a winter's morning, frost blooming on my window panes, the bubbles of exhilaration that grow with jumping into the lake, the serenity of floating atop it. None of this mattered to me. In fact, I viewed those who embraced such frivolous avenues of happiness as lesser than me. I would love to pinpoint one miracle that shuffled things around my brain and set me down the path of optimism, perhaps a near-death experience or the witnessing of a medical miracle. However, life is not as clean as a story. There is no outline to follow. Maybe my soul was always destined to grow in reverse, learning childlike innocence as the years passed. Or perhaps it was a fluke, a sequence of insignificant events that molded together to push me down the path I needed to follow. One evening, in May of 2019, I glanced up and noticed just how far I traveled. My bushy hair was untamed back then, still is, sprouting from my head as if I was ripped from the pages of a cartoon. Brush in hand, I sat chatting away to my mom from the top of the stairs, her looking up at me from her spot on the couch. After some time, I noticed the absence of response. Peering down at her, I was met with the sight of my mom's eyes scrunching in the corners, a broad smile climbing up her face. In response to my giggled question, she offered something so precious, I scrambled to write it down in my diary before it faded in my overactive mind. Voice wistful, she mused, "You just seem happier lately, and it's really nice to see." I'm okay. As long as I have her, I will be okay.